Hello there, everybody. Welcome on to today's video. Greatly appreciate you taking time in your day. Swing on over, checking around out. We have just I wouldn't say like fun. I feel like I probably will cry during this. But a nice little compilation type videos in these two. Basically, it's the two videos. One was done a couple years ago. It was how Girls' Generation changed K-pop, and then we're gonna do a more recent one that is how Girls' Generation became the godmothers of K-pop. Both of those in this little video. Tomorrow will be the wrap up, the final Girls' Generation video. It is a little long one. It's a little different, I would say, in a way, but I think it's going to be a fun little time to watch. And I have tissues on standby already because I know I'm going to be an emotional little Pisces. I'm already getting emotional because I know I'm going to be recording it tonight. So we're going to be doing this one. This one's a little shorter. And then tomorrow we'll be wrapping everything up. We'll be going into other things. We have another deep dive that will probably kick off sometime in August. I may push it back to September. I don't know yet. I have a lot of stuff I'd love to catch up on. So I might take August to do that. I don't know for sure. But we will be getting to Girls' Generation Japanese albums as well as Taeyeon's Japanese albums over on Patreon. When I do start that, I'll let you guys all know in the community tab. And we'll be checking those out over there. So that is what will be coming up Girls' Generation content-wise. And then I do have a couple of shows as well. Soshi Tam Tam, I think it's called. Then we're going to be doing that over on Patreon as well. That is on my list. But this, today, we're going to be watching these two, checking them out, seeing what's going on. I have no idea. I'm ready. Let's do it. You know, it's the end, or closer to the end as well. I know.
Why is Girls' Generation regarded as a legendary girl group in K-pop? Finally, Girls' Generation is back with Forever One after 5 long years. The K-pop industry has evolved and grown in their time away, but the impact of the original nation's girl group is as present as ever. If you're a Soan back from the depths of the Tumblr
amazing
abyss,
video,
or maybe you're newer to Sonia and want to know a little bit more about them, either way, stick around because today we're celebrating the life and career of Girls' Generation and its members in honor of their highly anticipated return to K-pop's main stage. Let's blast off and get started. Annyeonghaseyo, friends. I'm Jonathan Miller, and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, where we help each other become better artists. It's no secret that Girls' Generation is my old group in K-pop. They got me through a lot in life, and I've always wanted to do something special once they finally returned. Well, it only took 5 years, and my bones sure are rickety from the literal apocalypse we've all been through since holiday night, but we're here now.
Yeah,
Nature
accurate.
is
He's
healing.
accurate.
So, this is the legendary Girls' Generation.
Hi.
Sonia today.
All right.
The second generation of K-pop acts began in the new millennium. BoA was becoming the first Korean act to break through in Japan and starting the trend of K-pop acts releasing music in Japanese. Shinhwa was earning the hearts of young fans and dominating the game that Super Junior and TVXQ were soon to follow. The internet was a brand new toy in the hands of adolescent millennials, and radio still decided who was popular in music. No Spotify, no TikTok, no YouTube until just a little later. Already successful groups around the world were fading in popularity, especially girl groups like SES. And boys ruled the radio. Luckily, founder of SM Entertainment, the home to these aforementioned groups, Lee Soo-man, had an idea that would help fill this void. K-pop utilizes a training system for finding idols that has become almost infamous over the years. At this time, it was common for the method to be who you know for getting discovered or getting auditions. While vacationing with her family in South Korea, Jessica Jung and her sister Crystal were scouted by an SM talent scout in the mall and were invited to
I think
audition
that's
for
so
SM
wild, but
Entertainment,
also
which
it just
luckily
makes
both
so
of
much
them
sense.
ended up passing their auditions. That might seem really creepy or weird by today's
It is
standards, but
not.
back then, it was a fairly common way for people to be scouted into the entertainment industry around the world and to find potential new acts. And if you think that's weird, Seohyun was scouted on the subway before auditioning. Another way K-pop idols were discovered by agencies were through notable talent shows. You didn't necessarily have to win, but you better hope that the scout still thought you were talented. This is how Yuri, who won second at SM Youth Best Dancer competition, and Taeyeon, who won first at SM Youth Best Singing competition, joined SM Entertainment. Being more of a talent agency than a typical record label as we're more familiar with in the West, although they are quite similar. Another option for finding talent to train is a good old open audition or casting call, which fortunately a lot of K-pop entertainment companies hold regularly. Sooyoung, who already held prior experience in a J-pop group, Root Zero, that only lasted 1 year, Hyoyeon, Yuna, and Tiffany all entered SM Entertainment this way. One girl, Lee Soon-kyu, or Sunny as we would come to know her as, had already been an SM Entertainment trainee since 1998, and after 5 years, moved to another company's Star World in order to debut in a special duo. Unfortunately, the group never debuted, and Lee Ayumi, aka Iconic, a well-known Korean and Japanese singer and friend, convinced Sunny to rejoin SM Entertainment just in the nick of time. 2007 was here, and it was time for Girls' Generation. But first, a word from this video's sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is one of the leading music distributors in the game, helping independent artists like you and me get our music up on places like Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and more. For one yearly fee, you can distribute as much music as you want and keep 100% of your earnings. They also offer a wide array of features that help you promote your music as well, including making your Spotify releases pop with Spotify Canvases. Spotify Canvases are small looping videos that play in the background when someone streams your song instead of a static album art image. If you've got a music video for your song, that's going to be an excellent choice for you for this. Spotify Canvases are available for all DistroKid members too. Simply open up the Spotify for Artists mobile app, click the library button at the bottom, pick a song, and then hit Create Canvas. You'll be able to choose a 3 to 8 second video from your Photos app to upload, and then it will be available for your fans to see. This is a great tool for branding and helps bring your track to life. Use my special VIP link to save yourself 7% on your first year's membership with DistroKid. Link is in the description. The group practiced their choreography for their debut song Into the New World for well over a year. The song, written by K-pop songwriting legend Kenzie, had already been shopped around for a number of years before it was deemed best for Girls' Generation. Taeyeon, as the group's oldest member, was selected as the leader of this new 9-member girl group. Then, on August 5th, 2007, Girls' Generation officially debuted on SBS's Inkikayo. Very little stage makeup, minimal theatricality. The goal was to have audiences focus on their vocals and choreography while simultaneously ushering in a new era for girl groups in K-pop. Their self-titled debut album, Girls' Generation, hit stores in November of the same year, preceded by a cover of Lee Seung-cho's 1989 classic, Girls' Generation, from which the girls get their group name, and Kissing You. The album only achieved moderate success. You see, being a girl group that the public wasn't as connected with yet, Girls' Generation in their debut era faced the cold, unforgiving touch of anti-fans in Korea very quickly. An annual event held at the Seoul World Cup Stadium called the Dream Concert in 2008 saw one of the darkest days in K-pop and a nightmare for SNSD, the Black Ocean. If you're unfamiliar, K-pop groups have signature light sticks that coincide with their favorite groups and have interactive light-up features that fans can use at concerts to actively participate in them with idols. This particular event held popular groups like TVXQ, Super Junior, Wonder Girls, and fans excitedly cheered for them until rookie group Girls' Generation took the stage. The entire audience turned off their lights and fell silent, creating one of the most embarrassing moments for the girls and embarrassing moments in K-pop. It's something no one wants to happen, and many reasons floated around for a long while as to why it even happened in the first place. Regardless, it's one reason idols are very careful now about what they say or do, as no one wants to repeat that dreaded 10-minute set of tears from the girls and silence from the fans. It might sound a little melodramatic now, but it's very serious. Girls' Generation took an immediate hiatus following the Black Ocean, and then came back with one of the most popular songs in Korean history. G took the internet and South Korea by storm at a time when viral videos were just starting to be a thing. The EP sold over 100,000 copies in South Korea alone and became the longest-running #1 song on Music Bank at 9 consecutive weeks and held the record for 3 years. Its music video sparked a gigantic dance trend, flash mobs, and parodies, and its infectious hook has become infamous. It was the best-selling single of 2009, and its success can actually be tracked to show when Google searches for K-pop began to rise on the internet. While it might be easy to label Girls' Generation as a one-hit wonder, they soon proved they weren't playing around in skinny jeans. Genie dropped a little over a year after the dreaded Black Ocean, and it was like it had never even happened. Originally an English-language song called I Just Wanna Dance by Natalie Makoma, during this time it was fairly common for English songs to be translated and transformed into Korean hits. It's a process in which songwriters shop their compositions around to various other artists through their managers, usually called getting songs placed, with acts looking for music to record for their albums. Before the internet, the Asian music market and the Western music market didn't often overlap, so no one really thought much anything of it. I mean, the chances of people realizing a famous K-pop song was originally recorded or released in the West, or even just demoed by a Western artist, was very, very low, so it wasn't really much of a big deal. And it also really wasn't some giant secret that people were trying to keep hidden either. In fact, the practice still continues today. You guys were telling me about that, the Kesha demo. When a song is picked up by an A&R rep, the agency, in this case SM Entertainment, typically places a hold on the song saying, yes, we want to record it, don't give it to anyone else for a period of time. Sometimes that period can be a couple of months, or a couple of years, or more. Then, if the song is officially selected, songwriters will then give the rights to record the song and allow lyric translations, some recontextualization aspects, and some moderate reworkings to the song, in exchange for a songwriter's bread and butter, royalties. This is essentially how we got from I Just Wanna Dance to Genie. Genie helped solidify Girls' Generation's success, selling 50,000 copies in its first week, nearly doubling the first week sales of G. This was not very common for girl groups at the time. What really helped Girls' Generation become a household name was their Helipad live performance on Music Core, watched by 8.6 million viewers, becoming the top-rated and most watched performance in Korean history. But the girls didn't stop there. Girls' Generation entered the 2010s with their second album, O, and its repackaged version, Run Double Run, in which both of the music videos for their title tracks are connected and show different sides to the women. They became the second and fourth best-selling albums of 2010, respectively, in South Korea. Then, following in the footsteps of label mates TVXQ and BoA, Girls' Generation signed with Naruto Wave Records and dropped Japanese versions of Genie and G to break into the Japanese music market. It's the world's second largest music market and potentially one of the most profitable if you can break through successfully. The Japanese version of G became the first single by a non-Japanese girl group to reach the top 3 of the Oricon charts and eventually became a million seller. During this time, they surprised Korean fans by dropping their EP Hoot and then continued to dominate the Japanese market, selling 1 million copies of their debut Japanese album and embarking on their first Japan arena tour. After winning Album of the Year at the 2012 MTV VMAs Japan, they became known as the most popular and well-known K-pop group in Japan, alongside Kara, who was also doing very well there too. By conquering the second biggest music market in the world and their own country's market, it was time to go for the #1 biggest market, the US. If you've seen my deep dive on Taeyeon as a soloist, you'll know the US market is very unforgiving and not very welcoming to foreign musical acts, especially foreign acts of color. Still, SNSD managed to become the very first K-pop act to perform on American late-night TV, something that is now almost commonplace. They were hopeful because during this time, K-pop was just starting to become more well-known as the Hallyu wave began crashing onto American shores. They performed at SM Town Live in Madison Square Garden, and if you were an avid reader of music blogs at the time or on Tumblr, there's a high chance you knew
love the choreo. That choreo is so good.
Even though it didn't go as they hoped, the girls returned to Japan and dropped Paparazzi, and quickly continued their reign in Japan, and the first official subunit for the group, Tae-2-so, debuted in Korea, just before Psy dropped Gangnam Style and made K-pop a completely viral sensation. 2013 is the first year K-pop became a known thing worldwide. Maybe not like it is now, but it was the true beginning, and SNSD took a chance by making their Korean comeback with I Got a Boy. YouTube was now popular. The internet was making viral sensations. Tumblr edits were thriving.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I Got a Boy, known for its very experimental song structure, Street style choreography and bright colors set the tone for the beginning of K-pop's third generation, in which these aspects would become standard. Unfortunately, resistance still occurred, and not everyone was ready to embrace K-pop. I Got a Boy beat out acts like Justin Bieber and Psy at the inaugural YouTube Music Awards, and not every article was kind toward this foreign act whom was not a household name outside of Asia. It was change, and people don't always like change. Sadly, this wouldn't be the only thing that changed Girls' Generation.
Oh, not.
With success often comes trouble, differences, trials, even scares. For example, during a performance of Run Devil Run at the Latte World Ice Rink, a man attempted to kidnap Taeyeon while performing on stage. In 2015, Yoona was stopped by a Sasang fan who stole her staff's security card and acted as a security guard for Yoona, violating her safety. Sasang fans are similar to what are known as anti-fans in K-pop in how they are both obsessive and invasive of Korean celebrities' lives. However, Sasang fans, which come from the Korean words sa, meaning private, and sang, meaning life, differ from anti-fans by usually being motivated by a desire to be recognized by their favorite idol, whereas anti-fans are cruel and will purposefully endanger the lives of idols or attempt to spread malicious rumors. Sunny was also once followed by a Sasang fan while driving to visit her parents in 2014, even taking to Twitter to write a warning message about being worried what the Sasang fans' reckless driving could do to others. Speaking of injuries, SNSD experienced quite a few, including Yuri, who was in so much pain from wearing heels and performing all the time in 2017. She tore a ligament and had to have a piece of bone removed in surgery. She also had to receive many shots in order to overcome the pain she was in. What arguably changed Girls' Generation the most was Jessica's high-profile departure in 2014. Seemingly pushed out of the group ahead of their Japanese comeback Catch Me If You Can, in which the song and its music video had already been filmed, Jessica immediately exited Girls' Generation when they were at the top of their game.
We're actually going to watch the Jessica version,
recent novel Bright,
MV over on Patreon when we get to the
Korean-American girl who chases her dream of being a K-pop star, did
Girls'
cause
Generation
many fans
Japanese
to believe
stuff.
that the book is actually an allegory for what happened to Jessica. What we do know for certain is that a meeting took place between the remaining members of Girls' Generation, Jessica and Lee Soo-man, the CEO of SM Entertainment. Allegedly, due to conflicts between Jessica's then recently launched fashion brand Blanc & Eclair and the tight schedule for Girls' Generation's upcoming activities, a vote was cast to remove Jessica from the group, terminating her contract with SM Entertainment early. Jessica's final single as a member of Girls' Generation is Divine from their Japanese greatest hits album, The Best. While speculation continues, it's important to remember that K-pop contracts are ironclad documents. Idols are required to follow them or face extreme legal consequence. That includes if contracts are broken early. Press releases are handled much differently in Korea than they are in America, for example, because our celebrity cultures are different. In the US, could you eventually get a tell-all autobiography from your favorite celebrity and finally find out what happened to them? Sure, in time, maybe. In South Korea, however, usually the answer is no. And that's a full sentence. Meaning, the members of Girls' Generation will most likely never be allowed to mention Jessica or even be seen with her. Not out of direct resentment, but because they may legally not be able to. If there is still resentment or any issues like that, that's between them. It's well known that following Jessica's removal, she was immediately blacklisted from South Korean entertainment shows, which is why you'll probably never see her on something like M Countdown, for example, nor see her in clips of Girls' Generation songs or media used in video montages, on variety shows or things like that. Although there have been a few instances where she has appeared, because 7 years in close proximity with 8 other people is a little hard to edit out. But those shows are also probably unable to show Jessica as well. And it is important to remember that. Another thing to consider is the potential fans or anti-fans reactions that may occur. If Jessica is shown like normal, people will be upset that an inactive member of Girls' Generation is still being given the spotlight. If she's not shown, fans will be angered and dub it Jessica Erasure. The easiest thing is to just let both parties exist in their new dynamics and move on. Jessica thriving and doing her own thing as a solo artist, and SNSD continuing as SNSD. Of course, you can also write a fictional novel, change everybody's names, locations, and select events that may or may not hold any basis in real life to eventually get your truth out that way and avoid any legal issues, but to each their own.
Has
2015
anybody
saw the
read
release of
her
Lionheart,
novels?
SNSD first full
I know one
album as an
person who
8-member
has.
group, which was widely
And gave me the
successful with hits
lowdown.
like
And now
Party,
I'm wondering
Lionheart, and You
who's
Think.
who in
It
the
also
book.
saw the Fantasia tour begin and the first official solo debut from the group with Taeyeon's mini-album I, which eventually helped Taeyeon take home Best Female Artist at the Mnet Asian Music Awards. Following their group leader's success, Hyoyeon, Tiffany, and Seohyun quickly followed suit with their own solo projects. Seohyun took over full creative control with her mini-album Don't Say No, which debuted atop South Korea's Circle album chart, known then as the Gaon chart. Tiffany's I Just Wanna Dance drew upon her American heritage containing elements of R&B and synth-pop, even writing her own song What Do I Do, which Soo-young actually wrote the Korean lyrics for. Jessica also made her own solo debut that year, releasing English and Korean versions of her EP With Love J. Her debut single Fly was co-written by Jessica and sold over 250,000 digital copies. She also made another comeback that year with Wonderland, writing the Korean and English lyrics to 4 out of 6 songs.
I actually
on the
really like
album.
Wonderland.
Yoona, who by this time had already acted in numerous Korean dramas and won tons of accolades for them, started to gain a larger fan base in China. She released a special mini-album Blossom, which contained renditions of popular Mandarin songs. She also began taking more action TV and movie roles like Anna in The K2, which further increased her popularity. All of the girls stayed active and eventually came back with their album Holiday Night in 2017 to celebrate their 10th anniversary. Debuting atop Billboard's World Albums chart, Billboard also named Girls' Generation the #1 K-pop girl group from the past decade. 10 years meant contract renewal time, and it was announced that Seohyun, Soo-young, and Tiffany had chosen to leave SM Entertainment. All 8 members assured fans that the group was not broken up, but would be taking some time to pursue individual activities. This was very unusual, as when groups typically leave their parent agency or split up like this, it eventually leads to a full breakup. However, all of the girls repeatedly said that Girls' Generation had not broken up, even though their next full group comeback was unknown and would now involve contract negotiations with 4 different agencies and 8 separate schedules to align. So with that, all of the members fully immersed themselves in what they wanted to do. The remaining members at SM, Taeyeon, Hyoyeon, Sunny, Yuri, and Yoona, became the subunit OGG, a name Hyoyeon picked as a play on their hits O and G, as well as Girls' Generation's abbreviation of GG. Yuri then released her own solo mini-album, The First Scene, which went #1 on iTunes in 14 different countries. Already an accomplished actress as well, she continued acting in various projects and even started her own cooking show. Sunny has been a popular MC on multiple Korean variety shows, earning the title Variety Show Queen. Known for not only her charms and wit, but also her skill as a judge or host. Sunny has also participated in various soundtracks as well. Seohyun, Soo-young, and Yoona continued acting and starred in multiple hit dramas and films. Soo-young released her first solo song Winter Breath, and Yoona dropped her debut EP A Walk to Remember, which became the 3rd best-selling album by a female soloist in 2019. Yoona's status as a top South Korean figure has earned her over 11 national titles like The Nation's Center, Nation's Ideal Type, and The Nation's Visual, for being a strong embodiment of South Korean beauty standards. Seohyun starred in multiple dramas and even debuted as a lead actress in the Netflix original film Love Unleashes. Tiffany returned to the USA and began a successful solo career, dropping her EP Lips on Lips. She eventually won Best Solo Breakout at the 2019 iHeartRadio Music Awards and also dropped her digital single Magnetic Moon. She went out on tour and frequently performed her own solo music and occasionally Girls' Generation songs. Tiffany was also cast in the Korean Broadway production adaptation of Chicago as the main character Roxy Hart. Jessica's brand Blanc & Eclair became a popular fashion company selling products in Seoul, Beijing, New York, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Shanghai, Tokyo, and Vancouver. She became a New York Times best-selling author with her book series and eventually joined season 3 of Sisters Who Make Waves, a Chinese reality show in which female stars over 30 compete to re-debut in a new girl group. Jessica was able to showcase more of her leadership abilities, and she quickly became a fan favorite. Taeyeon and Hyoyeon had explosive solo careers, with Taeyeon dropping multiple hits in Korea and Japan, and Hyoyeon became a popular DJ and electronic producer. Taeyeon became the first female soloist to have 5 different albums sell over 100,000 units on the Circle chart. Her hit album INVU topped the Circle digital chart for over a month, to name just a few things that she's done. Hyoyeon released multiple successful singles like Dessert and Second, the latter of which reached #17 on the Billboard Billboard World Digital Song Sales chart. She also dropped her long-awaited first mini-album Deep as well. Together, Taeyeon and Hyoyeon joined SM supergroup Got the Beat for a special release as well. During this time apart, K-pop's
Got the
third
Beat. We'll
generation
never,
blossomed the
ever
genre and industry into a global phenomenon. BTS and
do another
Blackpink
album,
became
and I'm very
household
sad.
names around the world. Spotify and streaming became the main source of music consumption and discovery. We had a whole pandemic. The whole world of music became a completely different place,
I-DLE?
unrecognizable to the world of music that Girls' Generation
Thank you for
left
getting me
in
into Kpop.
2017. SNSD's absence has been strange for a number of reasons, but every year, all 8 members continuously found a way to celebrate their anniversaries, come together, and support one another despite their different schedules and despite their different agencies. The members repeatedly promised fans that Girls' Generation was forever with the hashtag GG4EVA, even when articles or interviewers would try to imply that the group was in fact over. Girls' Generation's hiatus and separation would make a comeback of that type unprecedented in K-pop. It's unheard of, but luckily, as we recently discovered, it's a promise they kept. Girls' Generation and its members have done a lot of good things since debuting in 2007. They were one of K-pop's earliest openly supportive groups of the LGBTQ+ community, even including drag queens in their music video for All Night and Lovin' Girls, the latter of which Taeyeon defended their inclusion when the music video was initially criticized. Tiffany has shared multiple letters to the LGBTQ+ community and has stated how much she loves that the community has embraced their hit Into the New World. Seo traveled to North Korea during the important historical and diplomatic peace talks for the Spring is Coming concert in Pyongyang to host the event. She also has made numerous donations to charities like the Sungil Hope Foundation to build a hospital for ALS patients. Yoona has made donations helping impoverished families with over 300 million won to the community chest of Korea, which for many years she did privately before hoping to inspire others to do the same. Sooyoung's father suffers from retinitis pigmentosa, and every year since 2015, she hosts a charity auction and concert to raise money to help those who are also suffering from it. Taeyeon has donated 100 million won to the Korean Red Cross to help provide disadvantaged women get hygiene products. Tiffany came out in support of Black Lives Matter during the George Floyd protests of 2020, saying how important it was to continue supporting and donating to charities fighting for racial equality even after the protests were over. Girls' Generation is widely regarded as a prominent figure in the Hallyu wave because what they did meant something, and we continue to see the positive benefits from that every day. Soneoshide reached legendary status as a group because the individual was just as strong as the collective unit, not because a bunch of millennials want to unconsciously defend their favorite group, although of course there will always be those that do. But they've reached this status for a reason. They shifted public focus back toward women in the 2000s when men dominated music. K-pop girl groups have access to the Japanese market largely because SNSD opened the door. They hold the original viral video for K-pop with G, and because of its success during a time when the concept of a viral video was brand new, even posting music videos on YouTube became a viable promotional tool for the industry. They eventually became the first girl group to achieve 5 music videos amassing over 100 million views. I Got a Boy set a songwriting precedent in K-pop that has since become standard, a fusion of EDM, hip-hop, bright colors, and vocals that oftentimes favors an experimental risk. Pitchfork once called Girls' Generation's G the magnum opus of K-pop. Billboard included them in their 100 Greatest Girl Group Songs list. They're endorsed by multiple brands and are still one of the most sought-after groups for advertisers. Subunit Tae-Tiso was the first K-pop act ever to hit #1 on the Billboard World Albums chart. Half of the top 10 highest-grossing girl group tours belong to Girls' Generation, and they've left an inspirational mark on hearts around the globe through their music and what they stand for. If it hadn't been for Girls' Generation, my entire music career would be different. My life would be different. They opened my eyes to new songwriting techniques, inspired me to drop music both in English and Japanese, and provided escapism from the worst decade of my life. I make music the way in which I do because of Girls' Generation. I understand the K-pop industry as well as I do, both as a musician and as a fan, because of Girls' Generation. I still study Korean and Japanese daily and took classes in them because of Girls' Generation. The most special thing about that is I'm not alone in the way SNSD touched my life and completely changed its trajectory. When Girls' Generation took a hiatus, it symbolized getting older, and fans patiently watched the gears of time shift to new groups, new fans, and a new world. They said they'd be back one day, but seeing as it hadn't really been done before, no one knew what the future would hold. But they held up their end of the bargain and finally announced a full-length return with all 8 members, full promotional activities, and live performances with their 7th album, Forever One. Once again, Girls' Generation sets a new standard for what's possible in K-pop, acting as both its own governing entity in which the members control what happens and get to be more involved creatively, while still functioning as an active group under the very company that made them all a family. What the future holds is always uncertain, but one thing is for sure. Girls' Generation accomplished the very thing they set out to do: inspire people through empowerment, escapism, and hope. Everything they do from here on out is just a bonus, whether that's acting, music, fashion, or more personal things like get married, have a kid or two, or come back again for another round of group excitement. They introduced a generation of kids to the world, and they continue to guide us through the shifting gears of time despite how different the world looks now. It's easy to look at stream and video view numbers and deduce that Girls' Generation wasn't as popular as groups of today, but that's not the case.
Not the case.
They
Nope.
were. The tools we're just so accustomed to measuring success with nowadays didn't exist back then, which wasn't even that long ago. Numbers can't accurately display Girls' Generation's popularity because they leave out so much. Never forget that SNSD brought us into the new world, helped us get settled, and then let us figure out the rest on our own. That's why they're so special. That's why they're legendary. And that is why we are all forever one with Girls' Generation.
Aww. That's a cute. Hold on before we get into this one. That's a cute little video. Yes, a lot of that information, a lot of it I know already, but it really shows how much of an impact they had, especially if you think about after their debut and of course the Black Ocean incident, that could have been their breaking point. Like, could you imagine them hitting that and then possibly even SM being like, no, we're not going to move forward with the group because of this? But everybody really rallied together. They took a little time off, came back with G, and the rest is history at that point. That's just a wild thing to think about. That one event could have completely trajected them into a different spot, and we might never have been here in this moment. It's one of those things that you just like look back on like, wow, they really did almost powered through all of that. Came out stronger on the other side, and from then on, just hit after hit after hit, and it makes me more excited to get to their Japanese stuff because I feel as though I saw bits and pieces in this, just not music wise, but just little clips. I'm like, that doesn't look familiar. I haven't seen that yet. And now it's going to be a fun little exploration. That was a great little video though. Very informative. I like those. This one's new. This just came out like a couple weeks ago. A month ago, maybe?
Before there was a blueprint, there were 9 girls. Built from precision, trained for perfection, designed to change everything. What they created became the formula. This is Girls' Generation. SM Entertainment had a vision in 2005 that sounded impossible. Create a girl group so perfectly balanced that each member would be individually irreplaceable while maintaining perfect group harmony. 9 trainees, each selected not just for talent, but for a specific role in a larger design. Taeyeon, the powerhouse vocalist who could anchor any song. Jessica, the ice princess with vocal complexity. Sunny, the energy source with variety show instincts. Tiffany, the American connection with that distinctive tone. Hyoyeon, the dance machine who moved like liquid fire. Yuri, the athletic performer with stage command. Sooyoung, the tall visual with acting ambitions. Yuna, the face that could launch 1,000 endorsements. Sohyun, the maknae with adult professionalism, the training period stretched for years. While other companies rushed groups to market, SM crafted each element with surgical precision. Dance formations that showcased all 9 members equally, vocal arrangements that highlighted individual strengths while creating seamless harmonies, personality development that made each girl memorable in her own right. This extensive preparation time created something unprecedented, a group where losing even one member would fundamentally change the entire dynamic. August 5, 2007. Into the New World dropped, and the girl group landscape shifted forever. The song itself defied conventional debut logic. Instead of safe, catchy pop, Girls' Generation launched with an emotional anthem about courage, dreams, and unwavering determination.
Aww.
The lyrics spoke to anyone who had ever faced uncertainty, while the soaring melody demanded vocal power that most rookie groups simply couldn't deliver. But the real innovation happened in the performance. 9 girls, moving as one, yet each maintaining distinct presence. The choreography showcased individual moments within group synchronization, a balance that seemed impossible to achieve. Watch any current girl group performance, and you'll see this exact formula. Their debut album demonstrated SM's master plan in full effect. Each track highlighted different member combinations, different vocal arrangements, different performance styles. They introduced the concept of the all-rounder group, skilled enough to tackle any genre, any concept, any challenge. The industry took notice immediately. This group possessed technical ability, visual appeal, and individual charisma in quantities that previous girl groups had never combined so successfully. 2008 became their laboratory year. While building their core fan base, Girls' Generation perfected the systems that every subsequent girl group would adopt. Their variety show appearances established the member spotlight strategy, each girl getting individual moments to shine while maintaining group chemistry. Sunny's quick wit, Yuna's natural charm, Hyoyeon's dance skills, Sohyun's mature responses. Each appearance strategically showcased different personalities, ensuring fans could connect with multiple members. But the true innovation lay in their approach to the album as a complete artistic statement. Rather than relying solely on title tracks, Girls' Generation elevated every song with equal attention and care. They perfected the revolutionary concept of B-side promotion, treating album tracks with the same strategic focus as title songs. This approach created deeper fan engagement and demonstrated artistic range that went far beyond just hit singles, establishing a practice that the entire industry would eventually adopt as standard. Most importantly, they began developing what would become the industry standard for fan interaction. From coordinated airport fashion to strategic social media presence that was revolutionary for 2008, Girls' Generation created the roadmap for idol fan relationships that transcended simple music consumption.
Aww.
And then G changed everything, not just for Girls' Generation, but for the entire concept of what girl groups could achieve. The song dropped in January 2009 and created the Aegyo phenomenon that still defines K-pop today. The colorful outfits, the synchronized expressions, the infectious energy. This concept became the blueprint that hundreds of groups would follow. But G succeeded because Girls' Generation perfected the balance between cute and sophisticated, playful and professional. The 9-week chart domination spoke to something deeper than just catchiness. G proved that girl groups could create cultural moments, not just music moments. The song became a national phenomenon, referenced in comedy shows, imitated by celebrities, embedded in Korean pop culture permanently. This success established the Girls' Generation formula: strategic concept execution, backed by undeniable talent and meticulous preparation. Every future girl group success story would follow this exact framework. 2010 to 2012 represented the golden age of Girls' Generation's creative dominance. Each comeback demonstrated new possibilities for girl group artistry. Run Devil Run shattered the cute-only stereotype by proving the same 9 girls could embody mature, sophisticated concepts without losing their core identity. The black outfits, fierce choreography, and powerful vocals created the concept versatility standard that every major girl group now requires. Hoot pushed further into mature territory while maintaining their signature group chemistry. The song's complex vocal arrangements and demanding choreography showcased individual growth within group evolution. The Boys became their first serious attempt at global expansion, featuring English lyrics and international collaboration strategies. While the global breakthrough would take years to fully materialize, The Boys established the playbook for K-pop's eventual worldwide domination. The member distribution, the bilingual approach, the high-energy performance style all became standard practice for groups targeting international markets. During this period, they perfected the art of simultaneous individual and group promotion. Members began taking on acting roles, variety show hosting, and solo music projects while maintaining their group commitments. This multi-platform approach became the survival strategy that every long-term successful group now employs. The 2013 to 2014 showcased Girls' Generation at their most experimental and confident era. I Got a Boy defied every conventional songwriting rule, blending multiple genres and time signatures into something that should have been chaotic, but instead became iconic. The song's success proved that established groups could take creative risks without losing their fan base. This willingness to experiment while maintaining core identity became the longevity formula that separates legendary groups from temporary successes. Japanese market domination during this period created the international expansion template. Rather than simply translating Korean hits, they created Japan-specific content while maintaining their core identity. This strategy proved that global success required cultural adaptation, not cultural abandonment. But even the most carefully constructed foundations face unexpected storms. September 30, 2014, Jessica's departure sent shockwaves through the entire K-pop industry. The most shocking aspect had nothing to do with the departure itself. Lineup changes happen in K-pop. The shock came from the fact that it happened to Girls' Generation, the group that had seemed unbreakable, the gold standard of perfect unity and professionalism. But the real strength came in how they responded. Rather than disbanding or taking extended breaks, the remaining 8 members chose to continue. This decision proved the resilience of the foundation they had built together. The transition period revealed the true genius of the Girls' Generation model. The group's identity had never depended on any single member, no matter how popular. Their system of balanced roles and shared responsibilities meant they could adapt, reorganize, and continue functioning at the highest level. 2015 to 2017 became their definitive proof of concept. The Party, Lionheart, and You Think trilogy demonstrated that Girls' Generation could reinvent themselves while maintaining everything that made them legendary. Each song showcased different aspects of their artistic range. Party brought summer freshness, Lionheart delivered retro sophistication, and You Think showed mature confidence. This concept rotation strategy became the standard for how established groups maintain relevance across multiple generations of fans. Their 10th anniversary celebrations in 2017 established the playbook for how legendary groups honor their legacy while continuing to evolve. The balance of nostalgia and innovation, the fan service combined with artistic integrity, every aspect became a masterclass in legacy management. Holiday served as both celebration and continuation, proving that even after a decade, Girls' Generation could still create music that felt both familiar and fresh. The post-2017 period showcased the ultimate validation of the Girls' Generation model. Each member's solo success strengthened rather than weakened their group identity. Taeyeon's solo career became the norm for main vocalists transitioning to individual artistry. Her ability to maintain both vocal excellence and commercial appeal while staying connected to her group roots created the playbook that every main vocalist now follows. Yuna's acting success demonstrated how visuals could transcend their original roles without abandoning them. Her transition from idol to respected actress while maintaining group loyalty became the career path model for visual members across the industry. Sunny's variety show dominance, Hyoyeon's DJ career, Yuri's acting ventures, Soyeon's diverse entertainment activities, Soyeon's musical theater exploration, and Tiffany's international pursuits. Each path created roadmaps for different types of individual success within group structures. By 2020, Girls' Generation had transcended normal group status to become a cultural institution. Their reunion activities generated more excitement than most groups' regular comebacks. This transformation established the standard for how legendary groups maintain relevance, decades after their peak commercial period. Their 15th anniversary celebrations proved that Girls' Generation had achieved something unprecedented in K-pop: true longevity without sacrifice of artistic integrity or individual fulfillment. Concert tours that sold out immediately, despite years between group activities. Social media posts that generated millions of interactions. Individual achievements that consistently referenced their group foundation. They had created the perfect balance between solo success and group legacy. Today's girl group landscape exists entirely within the framework Girls' Generation created. Watch any current group performance and count the innovations they originated. Blackpink's individual member branding within group identity. Twice's concept versatility and member spotlight distribution. Red Velvet's experimental artistry balanced with commercial appeal. aespa's high concept execution with individual personality emphasis. IVE's visual vocal performance balance. New Jeans' fresh concepts built on solid foundational skills. Every successful element traces back to strategies Girls' Generation pioneered and perfected. They created the operating system that the entire industry now runs on. But the system's true genius lies in its adaptability. Rather than creating rigid rules, Girls' Generation established flexible principles that could evolve with changing times and markets. The specific tactics may change, but the underlying strategic approach remains constant. Industry professionals consistently reference Girls' Generation when discussing group formation, concept development, and career longevity. They became the benchmark against which all other achievements get measured. Current idols cite them as inspirations not just for their success, but for how they achieved it. The professionalism, the mutual support, the individual excellence within group harmony. These elements became the aspirational standard for every trainee entering the industry. Music producers study their discography to understand how to balance artistic ambition with commercial appeal. Choreographers analyze their performances to see how individual moments enhance rather than distract from group synchronization. Entertainment executives examine their career trajectory to understand sustainable success in a notoriously volatile industry. Girls' Generation never set out to create a blueprint. They simply pursued excellence with such dedication and intelligence that their methods became the industry standard. They proved that girl groups could be artistically ambitious and commercially successful, that individual members could shine while strengthening group identity, that concepts could evolve while maintaining core appeal, that global expansion required cultural intelligence, not cultural abandonment, that longevity demanded innovation, not repetition. They transformed an entire industry not through revolution, but through evolution. By consistently executing at the highest level, they established new standards that became industry requirements. The formula they created continues to evolve, but its core principles remain unchanged. Balance individual excellence with group harmony. Maintain artistic integrity while achieving commercial success. Adapt to changing markets while preserving core identity. And always, always prepare thoroughly before taking risks. In 2007, 9 girls debuted with a dream. They created something far more valuable than hit songs or chart records. They created the foundation upon which an entire global phenomenon now stands. Girls' Generation dared to be bold. Will you?
Aww. What a good little video. There's like so many little good videos. Ugh. Ugh. This guy's not wrong. This guy is not wrong. Both videos, really. If you think the way that they evolved a lot of stylings, how like choreo, etc., potential MV stylings, how that correlates with a lot of hints potentially of Girls' Generation. They're really just so good. It's so good. They are the blueprint in a weird way. They are that little standard. And everybody, I mean, of course, I'm exploring them this past full like year. A lot of you have been with them from the beginning, some maybe a few years after, some maybe are just getting into them. We hope that there'll be more in the future. We'll see. We have a couple of anniversaries coming up, so you never know at all with them. Hopefully it's not another 5 years for us to get something, but they really have shaped what K-pop is today for newer groups, especially when he was going through and going through all the groups, Blackpink, Twice, Red Velvet, IVE, New Jeans. Well, who knows what will ever happen to New Jeans here with all the stuff going on, but I digress. They really have set in stone some popular and known to work formulas for girl groups that other groups and companies can take and mold into their own, because they know that it works. And that's when you have a legacy. That's what Girls' Generation is. They're a legacy. They always will be for K-pop. Great little stuff. Thank you, everybody, joining in, hanging out. Be prepared for tomorrow. I will be wearing the same hoodie because I am recording it right after today, or right after this. It is a little bit of a longer one. We're gonna have some laughs. I know where there's probably gonna be tears going into this and coming out of this. So be prepared for that as well. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you, everybody, joining in, hanging out. You all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.